Greetings, adventurers!
Today we're going to be talking about Beauty and the Beast.
And we're drinking a violet black tea.
Maybe you've heard this particular criticism of Beauty and the Beast that really annoys us a lot, which is that it's a glamorization or the glorification of Stockholm Syndrome.
We're talking about the Disney Beauty and the Beast.
In case you don't know, Stockholm Syndrome is sort of a psychological situation in which a kidnapped victim begins to identify with and defend their captors.
They end up not wanting to be released. They want to stay with their captor, if at all possible.
And this, for obvious reasons, is a negative thing. That is not what happens
I'm
to
gonna
Belle.
say it's the exact opposite of what happens to Belle. By necessity, the way that entire story is structured, it is so the Beast is the one that necessarily needs to change throughout the story before that final rose petal falls, or he will remain a beast forever. So Belle is the one who affects change in him. He begins to identify with her worldview, her need for adventure, her love of the world, and over the course of the story actually lets her go, his largest hurdle, perhaps, in overcoming his sucky personality and becoming a new, awesome dude. So that shuts that down.
Controversial opinion from us is that the Beast is the protagonist of the story and
He
that
is.
Belle is the audience insert character. I think it's really powerful to say that Beast is the protagonist and Belle does not undergo a personality change, because that is reinforcing the idea that she doesn't need a personality change. At the beginning of the story, she's fully formed and
Everyone else is wrong.
Empowered.
Everyone else is wrong, not her. We feel that.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah, because he's the one that goes on the journey.
And the inciting incident is him being cursed for being rude and mean.
And elitist. There's a lot of like his toxic masculinity connected to classism. I mean, he's a prince. He has a castle and he's a shitbag, so.
And he treats everyone terribly.
Like all of the human beings who work in his palace become
Because
physical objects.
he treats them as objects.
Right.
It's a literal.
It's a very literal story.
Yeah.
This brings us to Gaston, the realest of real villains from a Disney cartoon.
Too real.
Of all time.
All the townspeople, all those bros in Gaston's bar decorated with all of his antlers, he's a power fantasy for them. He is the best. He's the best at shooting. He's the best at fighting. He's the best at spitting.
You also get the Babettes fawning over him. They are more attracted to his power and his station in town than necessarily Gaston himself.
For his personality.
Like dating the quarterback.
Yeah.
There's a little self-preservation to the Babettes as well. They'd be a little ostracized if they weren't fawning. There's a sort of communal herd mentality that turns on its head, obviously, in the end, where if you kind of disagree with everyone, you are an outcast. Belle and her father do have to live on the outskirts of town.
We were talking about treating people like objects, and Gaston also, if we're contrasting him with the Beast, where the Beast has to learn that people are not objects and that he can't just take Belle as a thing and solve his problems, and he has to come to the realization that that is not possible. Gaston is the character that never realizes it. He wants Belle, she's the prettiest, that's the best, he deserves the best, that's the trophy, that's the antler. Like,
She's
going to
perform
literally
a
take
specific
her,
function for him.
he's gonna find however he can get her to marry him by...
Hook or by crook.
Yeah, exactly.
Gaston just doesn't take no for an answer.
And
when we're talking about the Babettes and the idea that the best they can do is nab Gaston. Like, that's the sort of limit of their vision of this provincial life, if you will. Belle is the opposite of that. Belle is, how can I be brave? Belle is, how can I go out and seek adventure? And
even when it's only in the pages of a book.
It's in the pages of a book, and it turns out the bravest thing she can do is take her father's place when her father is being captive.
you said that she goes off in search of adventure, and that's really what she does. She doesn't go off in search of a man, and she doesn't discover the Beast and think to herself, I can change him.
No.
I can make him better. She just lives her life the way that she is and has the effect of changing him, and when that change is effected, she falls in love with him. The lesson of Belle is not, if you find a guy that otherwise you like, but he has some things you don't like, you can change him. Demonizing the love story is kind of like, here's the point, and here's you.
The idea that if you stick to your guns and you live your life as an example, true to yourself, other people will follow you Like, that's really powerful.
It's really
You'll attract people to you who want to be like the kind of person you would want around you.
Read, elect, supply with an army.
Beauty and the Beast edition.
I want to supply the really angry witch with an army. Think about the number
Enchantress.
of toxic men she could
Oh my.
take over.
And I feel
with,
like
look
she
at that.
have
The
her.
potential for change.
Elect Bell.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think elect
President
Bell.
Bell.
President Bell. Okay, would Mrs. Potts not have the raddest collection of children's stories?
Yeah.